Hello MUS 1002 students. This is just a quick walkthrough of Composition Project 2 and just a real crash course on how to use Ableton Live, which you're going to be using for this project. So you will need to download the free demo of Ableton Live, which can be found at ableton.com. And then up here you have the option to try Live for free, and you get to use all of Ableton Live Suite for 90 days. And you just select Mac or Windows and download it. I'm not going to go through the install because it's just a lot of clicking yes, yes, and more yes in order to download it. It's very, very large if you install everything, so just be aware. You might only want to install parts of it and not every single possible pack that you can install. But once that's done, you will be using that to write a piece in a verse-chorus pop form with an optional bridge. So something like verse-chorus, or the classic verse-chorus, bridge, chorus. And it needs to be between 2 and 3.5 minutes long. I do recommend that you think of 8-bar phrases with 2 phrases per section, and I'll show you how to do that very easily in Live. You need to have at least 2 different drum patterns of at least 4 different sounds each. And you have to create them yourself by programming Ableton's drum rack by entering Midi data. You cannot use pre-composed loops. Sorry. You also have to use at least 1 loop per section, only the free ones that are included, either as the melody or the bass, but you cannot use it for the drums. The other part in each section, either the melody or the bass, whichever one you didn't use a loop for, you will be filled in with one of the included MIDI instruments that you program yourself. And you can either play that in or you can program it in with the pencil tool. So, on top of that, you will have to save everything, upload it along with a copy of your responses to the bullet points below. Again, all of this information is in the handout along with the grading rubric, so download that and have it in hand while you are working on this. But let's take a look at Ableton Live now that I've already installed it. So this is Ableton Live. The first thing you will almost certainly want to do is go to the options and the preferences and make sure that it's selected your correct audio device and that your inputs and your outputs are set for at least 1 and 2. If you have a MIDI keyboard or other MIDI instrument like a MPC pad or a electronic wind instrument, click on this tab here of Link, Tempo, and MIDI and make sure that it is set here for the input for track and probably sync too. If it's MPE capable, then make sure that that's flagged. If you don't know what that is, then it's probably not, and you can probably ignore it. So click out of that. And again, you can always find that under Options and Preference. So we're going to be working with MIDI data for everything except for the loop. So we're going to need a couple more tracks because we've got MIDI, MIDI, audio, and audio. So let's start out with our drums because that is the most important part. So here I've got all of the drum kits that are installed, and I am just going to go pretty basic. I'm just going to find a 808. Okay, I am digging that. That is the 808 core kit. So I'm going to click that and I can then play that. There's 2 ways to play that. First, I need to hit record enable to make sure that it's playable. Then I have to find the key that it corresponds to on my MIDI keyboard. Now, I know what you're saying. Dr. Furman, I do not have a MIDI keyboard. How can I do this? Well, you can do this very easily. If you come up to the upper right corner, there is this little keyboard icon next to the pencil icon. If you click that, you can use your computer keyboard as a piano keyboard. It uses the white keys from A all the way up to L, and then the black keys would be in between. Now you'll notice that I'm clicking A and it's not doing anything, so I need to lower the octave. I can do that using the computer keyboard by hitting Z, and we'll do it one more time. Okay, so that works. If I need to raise the octave, I can hit X. And I will show you that again with a different instrument. But for now, let's record some audio. So the easy way to do this, we're going to do everything on the timeline in what's called arrangement view. So we're currently in session view where you've got everything in these nice channel strips, but we're going to go to arrangement view, and we do that by hitting the tab key on the computer keyboard. And now I've got everything lined out as a timeline. Up here I've got the measure number, so measure 1, measure 5, measure 9, 13, 17, 21, blah, blah, blah. And then down here I've got time codes. Now you'll notice that I said to think of everything as an 8-bar phrase. If I grab the ruler and zoom in, this becomes a little bit easier to see. Measure 1 to 4 is gray, and then measure 5 to the end of 8 is a slightly different color of gray. So what I can do is I can just go by every 8 bars, and I can create a locator. So I'm going to hit stop to go back to the beginning, go to create, add locator. We're going to call this phrase 1. Jump ahead to 9, create, add locator, phrase 2. If I want to rename it, I can select it and hit Control R or Command R. Call that verse. And then I'll do the same here. So Control R or Command R. If I'm on a Mac, I'll call this chorus, if I can spell it correctly. So then I'll create one more at bar 17. I'm just going to create add locator, and this is going to be verse 2. So that will help me to really kind of structure things. Now, hit stop to get all the way back to the beginning. And again, I've got record enable selected. So now, if I want to, I can record directly in here, or I can enter the data manually, and that might be easier for the drums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a full measure between measure 1 and measure 2. I can do that by just mousing over it. Then if I right-click there, I have a couple of different options, but the one I want is Insert Empty MIDI Clip. I'm going to click on that, and then down here in the editor, this becomes a lot easier to work with. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool, and then here I've got all of the different sounds in this clip. So I'm going to click in, and we're just going to create a really, really basic and boring bass drum pattern. And then I'm going to hit stop until we're back at 111 on the transport, and then hit play, and let's hear that. Wow, that's boring. I'm going to drag my loop over here, and we're just going to keep looping it as I add some other parts to it. So let's add a snare on the offbeats. And let's add, where's my hi-hat? Little bit of hi-hat. And let's hear how that sounds. Not going to win me any awards. I've also got claves. I've got some cowbell. Let's do something with the claves. Let's do the claves every 3. So I'm counting 3 full cells between these. And then, oops, if I make a mistake, I can always fix it. Sorry, every 3 would be there. 1, 2, 3. 2, there. Okay. maybe let's do something with the cowbell on 5. And let's just leave it on that one. Okay, that might sound better if it weren't the cowbell. That just sounds pretty terrible. Let's do that with the open hi-hat. And I just click to delete the cowbell. Okay. Again, it's not going to win me any awards, but it's useful. I'm going to turn off the loop, otherwise it's going to keep going. Now, down here, if I want to edit the instrument, I can do that by clicking here on the name, 808 Core Kit, or I can do Shift-Tab. And if I do that, I can see the relative volume level of different parts in this. All right. So that is my first drum pattern. I'm going to use that for measure 1 to 8. And then here at bar 9, I'm going to need to create a new drum pattern. So again, I'm just going to select empty space, right-click on it, and insert empty MIDI clip. Then, once again, I'm going to create a part. I'm going to do the bass drum a little bit differently, but it's going to be relatively similar. And then with the snare drum, we're still going to do on 3. And do I want the congas? Yeah, I want the congas. And I want my low conga. Okay, so we've got a repeating conga pattern. With the claves, I'm going to click on the previous one. I can see the claves. I've got 2 separated between those. I'm going to keep that clave pattern going because that's kind of hip and I like it. So we've got the claves. And then for the hi-hat, this time, I'm just going to do it on everything except for beat 1. That's beat 1. Okay, so let's loop that. I'm going to move my loop brace over on top of that, and let's hear how that sounds. Okay, let's hear the previous bar and that one together. So I'm just going to extend my loop brace out. Okay, so there's some cool stuff. I'm going to deactivate the loop, and I'm going to take that out so that that is up to 16. Now, if I want to do this as a sectional piece, where this is the verse and this is the chorus, and they're very clearly different, I can also change the color of this. So I'm just going to right-click on it. I'm going to make it, let's go, yeah, dark blue. I think that'll be easy to see. Okay, so I've got verse and chorus, and then I need to find a loop, and I need to play some other stuff too. Oh boy. First, before we do anything else, let's save. So that if anything happens, I've got my drums pre-programmed, and they're not going to go anywhere. So to save, I go to File, and I'm going to do Collect All and Save. And this is going to grab everything from files from elsewhere, from other projects, and user library. And I'm just going to hit Yes to those 3, and then hit OK. And it's going to say, what do you want to call this? I'm going to call it Comp2 Demo, and that's going to be save as type Ableton Live Set. Now, when I do this, I'm going to minimize it. It's created Comp2 Demo project here on my desktop, and inside it, I've got the Ableton Live Set. So you're going to be uploading the entire project folder. So comp2 whatever project, that has to be uploaded. We'll get to that in a little bit. But that is where everything's saved. If you recorded anything, it's going to go in that folder. So that will be important. Let's do the next part, which is to create a instrument that is either a loop or MIDI. So for the loops, that is going to be under clips. And if I don't hear anything, I can hit click to preview. Okay, there's way too much stuff here. So I might want to try and sort something out. Let's try a piano and see what we've got. Not feeling that. Nope. No. Maybe keys. Nope. Prepared piano effects. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. Let's try this little amp electric. Okay, that's got some potential. All right, so those have some potential. It might be easier to find a bass though, so let's try bass and see what we've got for bass lines. Okay, this is perfect. So I've got bass of Velvet C. I'm going to drag that down into an audio lane, and it's automatically going to change that over into MIDI. And then I'm going to do bass of Velvet G and bring that over here. Then, again, I'm going to change the color. So let's go make that, and that can go back to that minty green. Now, these are loopable. So I'm going to grab the top and loop it out. I'm going to do that for both. And now, here's what I've got. This is just going to be a phrase of each. All right, we are cooking. I like this. Okay, so now I need an instrument. So I've got the drums. I've got the bass. What instrument do we want? And the answer is there's a bunch of them. So I am a sucker for synthesizers. I always have been. I'm going to take a listen to the analog. So first I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to record enable track 2. And let's take a look at analog. And we want Synth Lead. And let's see what we've got. That's our target. Okay, so tuned out lead. I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool. So I've got that in there, and I'm going to try that on my keyboard. Oh, that is so cool. Volume's a little hot, so I'm going to turn it down just a touch. Yes. Okay. I'm going to have a lot of fun with some reverb on this as well, but let's take that back up, add a little bit more flanger. Okay, so let's listen to what I've got. And again, I can play this with either my MIDI keyboard, or if I want to, I can use the computer MIDI keyboard up here, this little icon in the top right corner. So if I do that, again, it might be in a lower octave. I might have to hit the X key to bring it up. Or again. Or I can hit the Z key to take it down. And X to take it back up. But I prefer to use a real MIDI keyboard if at all possible. So I'm going to tab back over, and we're going to train myself to listen to this. One thing that I want to make sure is that my tempo is 120 beats per minute. That is kind of the standard by default, but it might change if you grab a loop and drop it in there. So if it's not 120 up here, double click it and tell it 120. Then time signature 4/4, and then here's my metronome, and this is just a click track that I like to use so that I can hear everything when I'm playing. But I'm going to get a good feel for how this sounds, and then we're going to record some MIDI for the first part. And I am going to do that for just this section. Okay, so I've got a pretty good thing I can do. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Preferences, and then I'm going to go to Record, Warp, and Launch. I'm going to make sure that I've got Count In set to On. So I can do 1 bar, 2 bars, or 4 bars. What that's going to do is, if it's set to 1 bar, when I start recording, it will give me 4 clicks of the metronome before it starts recording. That just helps me to get the tempo internalized and set before I start doing anything. So let's do that. I'm just going to hit record. You're going to hear 4 clicks, and then I'm going to play and lay down a melody. Okay, so I ended a little bit further on that, but no problem. I can just drop my cursor at the beginning of phrase 2, and then if I right-click on it, I have split. I can get rid of that and delete it, and now I can do the same thing here. I can figure out what I want to play. So I ended, my last note I believe is a B. Yep. Yeah, so my last note's a B. So then I'm going into something else here. Let's just figure that out real quick. Okay, I think I've got something. I'm just going to drop my cursor here at bar 9. And let's try it. This might work, it might not. If I make a mistake, Control Z on Windows, Command Z on a Mac will undo whatever I just screwed up on. Okay, so we'll take that as an example. I played an E natural instead of an E flat. Control Z, it's gone. We are good. No harm, no foul. Let's try it again. Okay. So again, I'm going to split my clip here. So we'll get rid of that and delete that. Now, I am going to hit stop and I am going to zoom back to the beginning. So verse 1 and chorus 1 takes just over 30 seconds, which means I need 2 to 3.5 minutes for this piece. So let me first recolor my clips so that they're easy to see. Now, there's a really easy thing I can do at this point. I've got my verse. I've got my chorus. I could select everything, copy it, and then I could paste it. That gives me verse, chorus, and that takes me up to just over 1 minute. Then if I copy all of the chorus parts and drop them here and here, that takes me just shy of the limit. So I need a bridge. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to create a locator. Call that the bridge. And then I'm going to create another locator. And so I would create just a rough MIDI clip for everything. I know I want to end on a C here. And here, I'm just going to have to grab that first clip, paste it in, and then I'm going to have to edit it by first going down a little bit and then taking it down to that very last note. Now here I'm just going to grab that, scroll down, okay, and delete those other notes that we end on there. Then I'm just going to create one quick note right there. Okay, and I need a single bass drum hit here, so I'm just going to go and select a full bar, insert empty MIDI clip, expand, and we're going to grab my pencil tool and hit a bass drum. Okay, then for the bridge, I need something here. So again, we're going to select an entire measure, and we're going to insert empty MIDI clip, and then I'm going to create a quick bridge progression, again with the pencil tool, because I am a terrible drummer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why are you 2 bars? I don't want 2 bars, so we're going to split and delete. Okay. And maybe some maracas, I think. Then, do I have anything? I've got a rim shot, all right. Do a rim shot on 2 and 4. And we're going to do, let's do some more tom work. Let's do the high tom, low conga, low tom, mid tom, mid conga, low, high, mid. Then, because it's easier, I'm just going to select all of these, copy, and paste that pattern. And let's hear what that sounds like. And let's also turn off the metronome and try that again. Okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not going to win any awards. Let's add some hi-hat to it. And let's add the open hi-hat on there. All right, so it's basically it's going to be a drum break basically. Okay, then I'm going to make sure that that is looped. And my loop point is too long. Okay, so I'm going to take my loop point back and then I'm going to loop it out. Okay, that's better. So I've got a new drum pattern for the bridge. Then for this, I'm just going to leave the bass part out. I'm going to let the bass drop out, and then instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a really, really low. Really low part in the lead and just build up like that. So we'll turn on the metronome and I'm going to record some lead in there. Okay. And I'm going to split that part that overlapped, and then I'm going to drag this part back out, and we should be all good. And let's hear my bridge. Okay, so for some final adjustments, I'm going to make a little bit of a change to the volume of the bass and the kit over here. I'm going to add some reverb with the sends to everything, and I'm going to dirty up the kit by sending it also to the delay. So let's listen to that. Okay, that sounds pretty hip, but there are two more things that I want to do. So I'm going to tab back over, and here on the master track, I am going to do something that is super important. I don't want this to clip, and we're definitely approaching that in terms of the volume. So I'm going to go to Audio Effects, I'm going to go to Dynamics, and we're going to use Limiter. And I'm just going to select... I could use any of the presets. I'm just going to use the default and drop that onto the master track. And that will prevent this from getting too loud. It's going to still get loud, but it's not going to get punishingly loud. So that is good. Then I'm going to unrecord enable that. I'm going to go to File, Collect All and Save. Again, top three options need to be selected. Hit OK. And it should be saved. And I can double check that it's got everything in there, that there's a backup file. If I had recorded anything from a microphone, it would show up there as well. Then, what else do I have to do? Well, I have to take a look at my time. So my piece, I'm going to zoom out, appears to be just shy of 2 minutes. Oh, if I hit that last note... we end at 1:48. Oh, it's just too short. Oh no, whatever will I do? It's not like I can just change the tempo and make everything slightly slower in order to make it longer. Oh wait, it's totally like that. I'm going to go up here to the tempo. I'm going to drop it down to 115, and all of a sudden we are over 150. Let's take it down to 110. Just shy of 2 minutes. How about 96? Oh, there's our 2 minutes. We are over. Now let's hear the speed. Okay, so that might be a little too much. I might have gone a little too far. Let's try 98. Let's try 100. And you can see the 2 keeps moving. Let's try 110. Split the difference, 106. Fine. So 106 takes me just to that 2-minute segment. Okay, so that is a little bit of cheating, but that is how you create your standard pop song, is that you make sure that it cheats and gets to that length. So one more time, File, Collect All and Save, and make sure those top 3 options are checked. I'm going to hit OK, and that is it. So I just need to write my responses to the bullet points in the rubric, and then I can upload this. And I will have another video specifically about uploading for you in Moodle.